Pro Football Focus and SpoTrack have given out contract projections for Colts internal free agents. Would we pay Daniel Jones and Alec Pierce their projected numbers? Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Colts, your daily Indianapolis Colts podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Colts, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network around. Hello, everyone. My name is Zach Hicks, your resident film nerd of HorseshoeHuddle.com, and I'm joined, as always, by Jake Arthur, the boots on the ground over at Round Table Sports. Today, we are continuing our talk of the Colts offseason. Today, we are looking at some in-house free agents and some external free agents and what their projected contract numbers could look like according to Pro Football Focus, SpoTrack, and then I think ESPN also did some projected numbers as well that we're going to use to fill in some of the gaps. So we're going to go through those. And then also the Colts finally hired a defensive line coach, Marion Hobby, another old boys club member from Lou Anarumo's past with the Cincinnati Bengals. So we'll go into his background a little bit as well to close out today's show. But to kick off today's show, Jake, the in-house free agents, the two big ones for the Indianapolis Colts, Daniel Jones and Alec Pierce. You got these numbers off of Pro Football Focus. I think they've generally been one of the better ones at projecting contract numbers. It's not an exact science by any means, but they get pretty closer than most sites. They have Daniel Jones at 3 years, $33.67 million per year with $56 million guaranteed. So like 1.5 years guaranteed essentially is what that would be, like almost 2 years guaranteed. And then Alec Pierce, they have projected 4 years, $26 million per year with $45 million guaranteed. So again, essentially 2 years guaranteed on that contract as well. And Jake, when I'm looking at both of these, obviously I would break the bank for both of them with the Colts, but that Daniel Jones contract, I think some Colts fans might disagree, but I think given what I thought the contract could get up to this offseason, if it comes in at 3 by 33 and it's only like a year and a half guaranteed, I'm more than okay with that contract after the way that Jones just played this past season.
Yeah, I am okay with that deal. I'm probably more on the side of 2 years, but 3 years for not $40 million per year is fine with me. I think both of us really were hoping to see that not reach that 40 mark, which it still might, but PFF, like you mentioned, their contract projections have always seem pretty solid. Like I don't see any of these and be like, whoa, that's way off base. So yeah, 3 years, 33.6, sign me up for that one. I think it's probably not a bargain, but without the Achilles, you're probably talking 40 million per year for Jones. And then for Pierce, 26 million seems pretty appropriate. Maybe a little on the higher side than what some people were thinking. But as we discussed, there's 9 guys, I think, in the NFL making 30 million plus at wide receiver per year. So as long as he wasn't going to get into that territory, I think it was going to be pretty doable. But it is just a reality that a lot of people probably didn't think he was going to be getting north of 20 million. He's gonna. And that's still less than Michael Pittman Jr. With the 29 million for 2026. So the very sobering reality, I guess, is that at that number, they will absolutely have to do something with Pittman's deal because this is not Jamar Chase and T. Higgins we're talking about.
Yeah, and even then, it's tough to pay both of those receivers in Cincinnati, and we're seeing that they might lose Trey Hendrickson this offseason as a result. But yeah, with Pierce, he's going to be probably the best receiver to hit the market when you factor in that George Pickens is all but guaranteed to be franchise tagged in Dallas. So if the Colts don't franchise tag Pierce, yeah, he's going to get this type of contract on the open market. It's just going to be a bidding war for a 25-year-old receiver who's coming off a 1,000-yard season. And in an offense where he didn't have his starting quarterback for the last 6 weeks of the season, So yeah. He's going to get paid big. I still firmly believe the Colts are going to franchise tag him at worst. I think he will be part of the Colts going forward, but we shall see for sure. I think those are going to be the two big deals the Colts hand out for their internal free agents, and then the rest is kind of up in the air when it comes to these Colts players. None of these other players broke the PFF top 50. So we had to go to other sites to get these projections after this. But Nick Cross, a player who we've talked on here, like I think could get close to 15 million per year. ESPN projected him to only get around 6 million per year, 4 years, $24.9 million. So a little over 6 million per year. And Jake, I've been kind of a big proponent in recent weeks saying like, I don't know if I would re-sign Nick Cross. If he's only getting 6 million per year, I'm all for re-signing him. I think I would go up to like 8 would be my max with him. If we get a little bit more than that, I'd probably pull back. But yeah, if we're in like that 6 to 8 range for him, like for sure I'd bring him back, especially if you can push some of that contract to the future years of that, because he's only 24. It's not like you risk major regression with him, so that you could re-sign him and keep that year 1 or year 2 cap hit pretty low, push that to the future part. I know you typically don't want to do that, but with him only being 24, I think he's a guy that you could do that for. I would certainly do that with Nick Cross. If it comes in truly around $6 to $8 million per year, I would totally do that with Nick Cross.
Yeah, zero reason not to do that, because you're not going to go find someone better in the free agent market for that price. And that also eliminates needing to fill that hole in the draft, because if you let go of Nick Cross, if you let him walk in free agency, you have to go out there in free agency and try and fill that hole with someone is probably not as promising or even as good as him, really, for a comparable or lesser cost. Or you're going to have to spend like a top 100 pick on someone to fill that spot. You could still draft a safety if you want, but they can be waiting in the wings, down the line. They can be a piece that Lou Anarumo can use in those 3 safety sets that he likes to use. Rodney Thomas played a bunch. You would probably let Rodney Thomas walk in this instance as well. But yeah, for that price, I would be highly irritated if the Colts let him walk and that was the price. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%. Now, after we go through ESPN, we had to go to Spotrac for the rest of these guys. Spotrac kind of rounded out. And for my money, I think Spotrac's probably the most inconsistent when it comes to projections. Yeah, so we'll go through what their projections are. I wouldn't go too heavy into this with Spotrac, but just a rough outline. I think the craziest one for Colts fans, they project Kwity Paye's per year money to be $17.9 million per year on his next contract.
Crazy.
Now, to kind of explain this a little bit, former first round pick, he's 25, 26 years old. I think he's 26 years old. And he's got 30 sacks through his 5 seasons in the NFL.
A starter his whole career. Yeah.
So I could see a team getting crazy with it. Like if I told you that Dayo Odeyingbo was going to make over $20 million per year last year, Jake, you would have called me crazy as well. So I could see a team doing that. If this were the Colts doing it, though, I would lose my mind, because look, I was a Kwity Paye defender for a couple years there. Big step back this past season. Fine run defender, can finish some sacks in the backfield. You're not getting anything else from him, I don't think, at this point. So if any team wants to go over 10 million per year for him, by all means, go do it. 17 per year, I'm going to be looking at the same way I looked at Dayo's contract last year, which was, you're not going to love that after the first year of the deal. And look what Bears fans, I mean, I know Dayo got hurt this year with the Bears, but Bears fans are already kind of regretting that Dayo Odeyingbo contract. I think Kwity Paye, anything above 8 million per year is probably a bit much. 17 is absurd. And I'm a little off with Spotrac on this one.
Yeah. And there could be some reality to that, just because, again, he's been starting 4 or 5 years. He is, to his benefit, one of the better run defending defensive ends from a 4-man front in the league. And that can be important to have. But he has, I guess, reached his ceiling as a pass rusher. I feel like he was completely anonymous all season long, despite this being the most he'd ever played. And I think it was on our show yesterday where I said, this was the most we've ever seen Kwity Paye, but it was his worst statistical season. Why is that? The Colts needed someone besides Latu desperately to step up, and no one did. And it was so obviously Kwity Paye should have been the one to do it. So yeah, I am super cool on not giving him $18 million per year. The rest of these, Braden Smith, 3 years, $13.5 million per year. I don't really see Braden signing anywhere for 3 years. I think if he goes anywhere, it'd be for 1. 13.5 is probably too much, but good market value for him. Samson Ebukam, 2 years, $2.9 million average per year, which is in stark contrast to what he signed for Indy. Tyquan Lewis, 1 year, $2.8 million, and Neville Gallimore, 1 year, $2.2 million. Those seem pretty appropriate, but it's not the price that has us saying thank you, but see you later. It's just the fact that their best days are behind them, and you need to get younger and faster, as Chris Ballard said.
Yeah, I'm cool with Gallimore coming back at that, but the rest of those guys, sayonara. What was the Jeff Saturday thing? I'm no good. Sayonara. I'm no good.
Yeah.
That's kind of, the rest of those guys I think can walk at that point. But Neville Gallimore, I think 1 year, 2.2 is more than fair, and I would like him back at that. But the rest of those guys, go on and make some money elsewhere. But coming up, guys, we're going to talk about some potential Colts fits in free agency. The Colts have a lot of ways to open up cap space, even after re-signing Daniel Jones, Alec Pierce, and maybe even Nick Cross. There's tons of ways to still be active in free agency in this must-win season for the Colts. So we're going to talk about some potential fits, some potential players that Colts fans have been clamoring for, and if they would make sense at those projected yearly numbers this offseason.
Tax season does not have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax Full Service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms, and they work to get you every deduction. You can upload your documents, go about your day, and get updates right in the TurboTax app. It's a huge time saver, and it gives real peace of mind knowing that an expert is handling it and you aren't just trying to find ways to keep yourself out of prison by making mistakes doing your taxes. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in if a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year. Just file by February 28th. So take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. All right, everydayers, thank you for making Locked On Colts your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network in the galaxy. Remember, if you haven't already, go check out our new Everydayer clubs. You can check out our audio ad-free, and you'll get an invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server, which includes a group chat just for listeners of our shows. Again, when the party stops here after the show, it rolls right on over to the Discord server. Just go to lockedoncolts.supercast.com to join or even gift a subscription today. All right. So again, just to catch you back up, we are talking about projections for contracts for free agents. We talked about the Colts in-house guys. Now we're going to move on to some names that Zach and I have mentioned from the outside in recent weeks. Again, these numbers are from Pro Football Focus and Spotrac.com. These ones. So you look at the edge group, Zach. There's some a couple young high price guys, and then at least one that you and I both have our eyes on where it's like, bring him to me now for that price. So you got Odafe Oweh from the Chargers, 4 years, $19.25 million per year, $40 million guaranteed. That's a good chunk of change, but the Colts, they need firepower. Boye Mafe, Super Bowl champion Boye Mafe from the Seahawks, 3 years, $16.3 million per year, $30 million guaranteed. And then you'll throw Jalen Phillips in there as well, 1 year, $15 million with 12.5 guaranteed. So those are the expensive ones. I'm going to go ahead and say your boy Arnold Ebiketie from the Falcons, 2 years, $8 million per year, 10.5 guaranteed. Do that yesterday.
Yeah.
You take that all day long.
For sure. And I know he hasn't been hyper productive, and he was more of a rotational player this past year, but look, the Colts just need speed off the edge. And if you want to have a player like JT Tuimoloau take your base down snaps and just have Ebiketie be a rotational guy, that's the going rate for rotational guys, is $8 to $9 to $10 million per year when it comes to playing off the edge. So Ebiketie had one of his better years as a pass rusher this past season, one of his highest pass rush win rates. And he definitely fits the definition of younger and faster off the edge for
Mm-hmm.
this Colts team. So yeah, 2 years, $8 million per year, signed that yesterday for him. I still think people are underestimating how much cap space the Colts can have this offseason, because if Jones is making like $33 million per year, right? That doesn't mean that's what his cap hit is going to be in the
Right.
first year. When you have a heavy signing bonus in year one, that first year cap hit could be quite low and you could still have a lot of room. So I think they could make room for an Odafe Owe, for a Boy Mafe, if that's who they want to go with, even for a Trey Hendrickson, like we talked about to end yesterday's show, Jake. But I think I'm personally of the opinion of getting multiple guys for the edge rush room. And I don't know if like a one signing being Trey Hendrickson being the one or whatever helps you as much as go get a Arnold Ebiketie again at like $8 million per year, a Malcolm Kuntz that's like $9 million per year that's on here. Kayvon Chaisson, I'm not super high on him. I don't think he was that good this year. I know some of the counting stats were better than the advanced stats with him.
Mm-hmm.
He's at $9 million per year. I probably wouldn't go that much with him. But I would like to go more of multiple guys in that tier than like one big swing for a Hendrickson. Or, I mean, at least if you're going to swing, sure, a Hendrickson makes sense. Odafe Owe, you've kind of got like 1 year of production there. Boy Mafe, I thought would be more of a buy low candidate because he kind of lost out in that rotation a little bit at times this season. If he's getting $16 million per year, I don't think I would touch that on the open market.
That's less than pay, though. Isn't that crazy?
I guess that is technically less than pay. But I thought Mafe would be more in the Ebiketie range of like that 8 to 9 to 10 million per year. And then I would be a little bit more comfortable with that with him. But I think multiple guys of that like Ebiketie tier make the most sense for me to have that wave of pass rushers. I mean, you look at Seattle this past year, outside of their two interior guys, a lot of their edge rushers were like good rushers, not great rushers, like DeMarcus Lawrence is towards the end of his career. Uchenna Nwosu, very solid player. Derek Hall, very solid player. Boy Mafe, very solid player. But it's not like you have a bunch of Will Andersons coming off the edge,
right.
So I think that's the ones that makes the most sense, having a bunch of like solid players coming in that way. But we'll see the way the Colts view it. I'm very intrigued by Ebiketie, though, if it is 2 years, $8 million per year.
Yeah, he might. I think his importance in Atlanta just rose a little bit with what's going on with James Pierce Jr. though. So
that's a good point. I completely forgot. Man,
when you draft the worst person on earth, sometimes they do things that
I didn't even think about that. That makes so much sense now. Oh man.
Yeah,
that stinks.
That's a tough one.
That stinks in so many ways, obviously, with all of this. But one thing just to pivot a little bit from that conversation, you have a lot of cornerbacks on here. And these quarterbacks,
with a caveat though.
These cornerbacks are getting paid, and because the Colts are going to be on the hook for so much of Mooney Ward's money this year, regardless if he retires or not. Plus Sauce is making it's a good deal for what he is. Like it's like $10 million per this next season, but that's still a lot of money, right? And then these other corners you have on here, Jamel Dean, $18 million per year, Jalen Watson, $15 per year, Alontae Taylor, $11 per year. I don't know if the Colts can go that much at corner, especially when they just spent another top 100 pick on Justin Wally as well to come in here. So I would love to get another corner. I just don't know if it would be like a high level corner like that.
Yeah, so this isn't just like at face value. So this is, of course, if Mooney Ward goes, if he does retire, or if the Colts release him, whatever, that has to be the case if you're going to sign another expensive corner. But like, they'll still have the need. You know what I mean? Like, if he goes, they still have to fill that. Now, Justin Wally comes in. He's coming off the ACL. We've also discussed Kenny Moore and whether or not he fits going forward at like his price, whatever. So if you find yourself with Ward gone, maybe Kenny Moore gone as well, you have to find someone. And sure, it's going to be expensive and it's going to suck, but you've got to have quality players. We've seen how much importance they put on the cornerback position. I don't think it's something they're going to do. I think they'll probably wind up drafting someone again. But if those dominoes fall, I could see them wanting to get someone who is like a legitimate fit and like legitimately good. They're at least just options. But then you look at some other guys here. We've talked about safety, like if Nick Cross goes. Dane Belton is a guy you've mentioned quite a bit. Alohi Gilman for me from the Ravens. Andre Cisco as well from the Jets, formerly the Jaguars. Those are all real cheap guys. Belton projected at 6.2 per year. Gilman 4.1 per year. Absolutely sign me up for that. And then Cisco 3.6 per year. And that's coming off of a down year. Cisco might be even better than that. Like, that's probably an appropriate contract, but like he could likely outplay that pretty quickly. And then one defensive tackle I have listed just because I don't love the group this year. John Franklin Myers from the Broncos, 2 years, $7.9 million per year. Solid run defender right there. Can do a little bit of everything. Good player from the Vance Joseph defense. They really, I think his teammates at least really want him back. So Denver may find a way to make that happen. But you need another rotational guy in there with Buck and Stewart, obviously.
Yeah, John Franklin Myers is a very underrated player. Very, very good football player. I would love him here, but I think he's going to be back in Denver. But Gilman and Belton, I do like a good bit that you mentioned at safety. Belton has ties with Jerome Henderson, a Colts defensive back coach.
Yeah.
And Gilman obviously played college ball in Indiana as well at Notre Dame. So a little bit of connections there to the Colts. But that's all we have here for free agency, guys. The other big news and note for the day is that the Colts finally have a D-line coach, and it's a bit uninspiring who they hired. We'll talk about it here to close out today's show, but Marion Hobby, the Colts' new D-line coach, we're going to discuss him here in just a bit.
The winter games are officially here, and if you're anything like us, then you're locking in for events you only get to see on the biggest stage every 4 years. And that's why following the winter games on FanDuel just makes sense. From medal counts to individual events to finding your angle on the sports that you actually care most about, FanDuel gives you more ways to stay connected to the action. The drama of curling matches that start slow and somehow get intense super fast, speed skating races decided by inches, hockey games that feel different right from the opening faceoff. I know that's what Zach's in it for. Even niche events become must-watch when you're fully locked into the competition. So FanDuel keeps the entire Olympic experience engaging from start to finish, and that's why there is no better way to follow them than with FanDuel. FanDuel, play your game. All right, welcome back, everybody. We are moving on to the Colts' new defensive line hire. They have finally got one. It's not been named official yet, but it's done. So this is another Lou Anarumo connection. I've never seen an assistant coach with the Colts get so much of like what they want. You know what I mean? Whether it's players, now coaches, like he's got a whole coaching tree now that he's got a part of him. So Marion Hobby was the D-line coach in Cincinnati under Anarumo from 2021 to 2024. He was also with the Jaguars when they had that really good defensive front with Calais Campbell and Yannick Ngakoue, 2017-18. Went on to the Dolphins, be their D-line coach. From what I looked at, that was kind of a little bit of an anonymous defense, maybe not the best. But yeah, he's had some solid players in his time. Nothing that's like super inspiring, but it does seem like when he's given really good defensive line players, he gets the most out of them. You know, you look at guys like, again, I mentioned Calais Campbell and Yannick Ngakoue, perhaps played some of their best football under him. Trey Hendrickson had his unbelievable production under him as well. And that's in sacks and tackles for loss, because I'm big on counting tackles for loss as well, because it's not just about sacks. It's how much you're actually getting into the backfield, making plays on rundowns as well. So these guys have been productive in both phases. But yeah, otherwise, you know, he's had spent some time in the college ranks as well. He was just at Arkansas. I don't think, you know, he was at Tennessee last year. He had been hired at Arkansas, but obviously they've only gone through spring ball or even just started getting into spring ball, maybe the offseason program. But yeah, now he's not going to be with Arkansas. He's going to be with the Colts.
Yeah, shame on me for not looking at him because I saw he had just got a job with Arkansas, and I was like, well, he probably signed the contract, but that would be the obvious guy if he didn't sign that contract. Lo and behold, that connection with Lou obviously reigns supreme. I mean, I think they first overlapped in Miami because Lou was in Miami before he went to Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think that they have basically been together almost every year from 2018 to 2024. There might have been like a year or two in there where they weren't together, but aside from that, this has been his D-line coach the whole time. And I do think people put too much on position coaches. Like, don't get me wrong, like O-line coach is a very important position coach. Like that one is vital. But when it comes to other position coaches, a lot of the time, as long as they're not having heavy miscommunications and they are, doing what the defense is designed to do, that's kind of like that's kind of what a D-line coach is there for, right? They control rotations and they control like making sure there's no miscommunications and guys being on top of it. The NFL is not a developmental league, right? D-line coaches aren't here to develop people. Linebacker coaches aren't here to develop people. They're here to help with game plans and get guys on the same page. Development's done in the offseason by most accounts. So I'm not going to be like judging the new D-line coach on how well he developed people. It's more so on like, are the right guys getting playing time? Are the communications on point? And that, so to speak, with the D-line. So yeah, Hobby at the end of the day is a guy who has worked with Lou Anarumo, knows what Lou Anarumo wants to accomplish, and knows how this defense is run from top to bottom. So that's why you kind of see these connections with coaching staffs. I mean, Gus Bradley has brought everywhere he's gone, he's brought the same coaching staff everywhere he went, right? The same DB coach, same linebacker coach, same D-line coach changed a little bit, but that's why we see this with defensive coordinators, because you just want everyone on the same page in that working relationship. So yeah, Hobby made the most sense. Part of me would have liked, like a 40-year NFL vet, like Carl Dunbar or something from Pittsburgh. But again, you can't complain when it's like, when you pick Lou Anarumo, you picked his style of defense, and Hobby is his style of defensive coach and D-line coach. I will say one thing that does kind of come into factor here, and this is something that you put at the very bottom here, is coach relationship with players is important, obviously. And Hobby obviously has that big overlap with the man that everybody in Indy has been calling for the last couple of years, Trey Hendrickson. Like, not to only have the Lou Anarumo connection, but now the Marion Hobby connection as well. There's going to be a lot of people saying Colts in the running for Hendrickson all offseason. We'll see if it gets done. But yeah, hiring Hobby as well, who I'm sure has a very close relationship with Hendrickson, is just more fuel to that fire, I suppose.
Yeah, without question. So you had just alluded to that to kind of tie it into the overarching theme of the entire show. There are a few free agents that Hobby and Anarumo coached in Cincinnati that are available this year. We have projections for them as well. So this Trey Hendrickson one is interesting because the number last year was $30 million per year, but that's before last year happened. He winds up signing for $29 million for that year. I projected 25, as a soft projection on yesterday's show. PFF has 1 year, $21 million with $17 million guaranteed. If it's $21 million, yeah, go ahead for Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, I think you can make
it's a lot, but it's not 30.
And here's the thing: if you're a winning team, if you're a team that wants to be a competitive football team that's competing for, again, when you bring everybody back, this is what you're saying, right? When you bring back Pierce, when you bring back Jones, when you bring back Steichen and Ballard, you're saying that you're buying into that first half of the year. What you're going to do is you're going to put void years at the end of that 1 year contract.
Yeah.
Now it's going to hurt you for the future, and Colts fans might be upset because we know a rebuild is coming at some point. But you're going to put void years at the end of that contract to make the first year cap hit a lot less, and then open the gates for other moves after that. So yeah, 1 year, $21 million might seem like a lot with the Colts having to pay Pierce and having to pay Jones. But they're going to, if you're going to make that kind of move with the current age and status of the roster, you're going to put void years at the end of that to further go all in this next season.
Yeah, so it's not just Hendrickson. Joseph Osai is the guy we mentioned on here a lot, again, the past couple years. He's projected on more of a multi-year deal now. 4 years, $9.2 million per year. So he's on that Ibikiti level. Ibikiti is more intriguing to me, Zach. Osai's not he's not a prolific pass rusher. I think he just had 5 sacks. And then Cam Sample is another guy as well that was on the market last year. Also went back to Cincinnati. 1 year, $2 million for him. So he's on that Tyquan Lewis level. If you need guys who, again, just know your system, speak your language if you're Hobby and Anarumo, and can count on them to play and not be like wandering around not knowing what's going on, then you can make moves like that. But Osai and Sample don't really do it for me, especially Osai, 4 years, 9.2 million per year. I'm good on that.
Yeah, Osai's best production as a pass rusher has come rushing from the inside. And I think, with Tomey, with Buckner, with JT Tuimoloau, and potentially another draft pick coming in this next season, I think they have a lot of guys who can do that. They need more pure edge rushers, I think, off the outside. So Osai doesn't really do it for me. Sample, look, you could literally sign anybody at 1 year, 2 million. That's around the vet minimum, and I wouldn't complain because it's like whatever. Like that's just like, so if you just want a guy who, like you said, Jake, knows your language, then sure, bring him in here. I just don't expect much out of him, and I think we'll be perfectly fine there. But let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. And thanks again, as always, for tuning in today to Locked On Colts. We'll be back again tomorrow afternoon, so make sure you subscribe to our show so you get all the latest episodes. And if you don't already, follow at Locked On Colts, at Jake Arthur NFL, and at Zach Hicks 2, all on social media. And if you never miss an episode, then remember, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Colts audio ad-free, plus members-only Discord access, and more. Head to lockedoncolts.supercast.com to join the club, or follow the link in the show notes right now. Thanks again for tuning in today, and make sure you check us back out tomorrow afternoon as well.